Hello everyone, I'm Day Weather Meteorologist Don Day with your Public Lands Council weekly weather update for this March 5th, 2022. It's being brought to you by Ag Risk Advisors, as well as WSR Insurance Services Incorporated. It's been a pretty interesting last couple of weeks. A week ago, we had a severe Arctic outbreak. This past week, many of you in the West have enjoyed mild, spring-like conditions. In fact, it felt a lot like May as opposed to March here recently. And a lot of folks really forgot about that Arctic wave we had just a week ago. But now, folks, we're going to go back into the cold again. Mountain snowpacks are going to gain. There's going to be some good with the bad. The good news is precipitation is really going to increase in the western United States in the coming weeks. This will help the mountain snowpack. But livestock interests, you need to be prepared for the return of snowy, cold weather again, and it's going to be rather persistent. So anybody in calving or lambing operations in the next week or two, and I think looking ahead into April, we've got some challenges. So there's good news and bad news. They're kind of all wrapped up together. The good news is precipitation is going to increase. We need it, but it's going to be coming kind of at a bad time for some of you. The pattern is going to be colder and unsettled through the next 2 weeks at least. I think the month of March into early April is going to be cold and unsettled, and we'll show you that here in a minute. Now, over the last week, it's really only been the Pacific Northwest and the far northern parts of Montana in the west that have seen any good moisture. Now, there's been a lot of precipitation in these areas. In fact, well above normal amounts, even some flooding. So good for those areas, especially parts of eastern Washington, northeastern Oregon there that really needed it. Parts of Montana that really needed it as well. But the rest of the West, as you can see, very little going on in this last week or so of this warmer spring-like weather. Continues to be, and it will continue to be, very wet in the southeastern U.S. Taking a look at the precipitation anomalies, you can see the green and the blue here, where even for this time of year, that was a lot of excessive moisture for the averages when you compare them to normal. As we look at the drought monitor, we're definitely going to see some improvement in these areas right here in the coming weeks. Also, I see improvement coming to Montana. I see improvement coming to parts of Wyoming and Colorado and the western high plains as well, even into the Great Basin states. This area here, we're still concerned about this area not getting the precipitation that other areas are. This will be especially true in southeastern Colorado, Oklahoma, Kansas, and the Texas. This area kind of missing out on the precipitation over the next couple of weeks. If you look at the change in drought status, conditions have worsened here as well as parts of the Midwest. And we are at the time of year where precipitation normally starts to increase. So if you don't get any precipitation, you're going to see that drought monitor slip a little bit. But I think next week's map and the week after that will definitely show some improvements. And this is why. This is today's weather map here for March 5th. We've got two storms coming out of the Rockies. Both will be producing areas of rain and snow and much colder weather, also into the Corn Belt and the northern plains, parts of the Pacific Northwest. You're going to get into some precipitation. It's going to start in the form of rain, turning over the snow as cold air is going to be pouring right back into the northern and central Rockies, parts of the Pacific Northwest Great Basin, and northern plains. So this is going to lead to a really good chance of colder, wet weather. By the middle of next week, this is by next Thursday, we're going to have an Arctic air intrusion. And this is where we're concerned for livestock interests. Not only do we have this winter pattern developing this weekend, but we have a pretty good push of Arctic conditions that are going to come into the northern Rockies, western Canada, as we get to the Wednesday through Friday timeframe of next week. This will be a cold shot that will be much colder than you would normally get in the middle of March. And this is the temperature forecast by the noon hour on Thursday of next week. Anywhere you see gray here, those are air temperatures that are below zero. These purple temperatures here are single digits. So you can see going deep into the Rockies and the Plain States back west of the Divide, by Thursday morning, some of you could go below zero. This is Friday morning. Notice the front, a blue norther, getting into Texas, pushing into the Corn Belt. This could be a very impressive middle of March cold shot. Look at these wind chills. The wind chills are forecasted to be 0 to -30 in the same time period. So stock growers in the northern plains, the Rockies, the Pacific Northwest, into the Great Basin states, Winter's not done. Even though we've had this warm up, winter's going to come back, and there's going to be some snow with it as well. Now, a week from today, by March 12th into the 13th on Sunday, we will see the Arctic air get pushed more towards Hudson Bay and into the Great Lakes. This will allow it to get warmer. So by next weekend, we should see some relief. However, we continue to see lows coming in out of the North Pacific and the Gulf of Alaska. This will continue to generate a goodly amount of precipitation over the next couple of weeks into the mountains and keep the weather pattern active. Over the next week, you can see right here, good precipitation coming back into the western United States. The snowpack areas are going to get some good snow. And there's your snowfall forecast through next Saturday. So there's going to be plenty of winter weather coming. Temperatures over the next 7 days, look how cold it will be relative to averages. The blue represents below normal temperatures. The green represents temperatures well below average. So the trend is back to colder, wintry weather again, looking ahead. Our next update will be the 12th. Have a good week ahead and be ready for this return to winter weather.